Go through a breakup and you have an insecure attachment style, meaning avoidant, anxious, or disorganized, the temptation is going to be to romanticize the relationship. And the reason that you do this is because you didn't have the closure you needed. And the actual reason you do this is because you have loved people before who have not loved you well and have not loved you back, and you did not get to work through that rejection. And so what happens is that the larger the rejection we have as an adult, the more symbolic it becomes, and the more likely we are to actually make it into something it's not, which is this all-encompassing relationship that supposedly speaks about who we are as a person. So when you go through this breakup and you feel like it must be me, this must just be how it works, and you do that thing where you romanticize the person you lost, you obsess over them, you really get into this place where you're spending all this time and energy thinking to yourself, if I could just somehow talk to them, if I could talk to them, I could tell them all these things that I've learned, that I know, and we could change the solution, we could fix the outcome, it could be better, we could stay together. And while I love this for you, I do, here's the more accurate, healthy thing, is that the relationship most likely did not end just because of you. Right? It wasn't just because of something you did, it's because the relationship ended. And while you have a role in that, that's true and that's accurate, you probably weren't the only person that caused the relationship to end. But see, the thing is, when we have an insecure attachment style, we instead believe that it has everything to do with us. And the more we believe it has to do with us, the more likely we are to do things like try to reach out and try to initiate further conversation and try to beg and plead and find all these solutions to a person who doesn't want to be in a relationship with us, because you know what it's like to be rejected and you know what it's like to love someone who does not love you back. And so, not to be the therapist that always go back to your past, but your past plays a role in this, because if you've been rejected or you felt neglected growing up, a relationship as an adult can feel like everything. It can feel like this place that you can go to kind of hide out and grow and feel safe, and this place that you might actually heal. And I believe that, there's that quote that says, we're wounded in relationships, we heal in relationships. But what I might add to that quote is, we're wounded in relationships, we heal in relationships that people want to be in with us. We do not heal in relationships where we force a relationship that's not there, or we beg someone to care for us who doesn't, or we try to stay when the other person won't. That's just not how that works. And so what I want you to think about, if you're in this space where you're really vulnerable and you're sad and you just went through this breakup, is it's not on you to make a healthy relationship work. A healthy relationship really consists of two people who both want better, and they're pointed in the same direction, and they're sure about the other person. They're not waffling, they're not breaking up every other week. They know they want to do this. And so if you are not in that relationship, then you are not mourning a healthy relationship. You're mourning a relationship that should have ended and did, because it couldn't have been what either one of you needed it to be. And so what I need you to do instead is to realize that relationships end, right? Realize that sometimes we're going to have a near miss, and that near miss really hurts. And sometimes that near miss is going to churn up a whole bunch of stuff you don't want to think about, or maybe even haven't thought about for a long time. And this is where I work with clients a lot, is they say, but Jason, they were the one. Well, but they don't want to be in a relationship with you. So they're not the one. And if they change their mind, they'll come back and they'll let you know. But if they're not changing their mind and they don't want to be in a relationship with you, it's not your job to solve it. If you have already told them you want the relationship back, that's about all you can do, right? Is to let them know that there's a bridge, and if they want to talk, you will. And you'd like to see it be different. And after you've told them that once, they know. But you have to resist the urge to think, I can fix this, I can heal this, if they don't want you to. And that's the part where the attachment style is really hard, because we're so activated in our stuff, right? Our nervous system's going crazy, and all we're able to think about is how it felt to be in the same spot before, how it felt to feel that rejection of someone who just meant the world to us. And so recognize that this thing you're going through is really two different things. It's mourning the past and it's mourning the relationship. And between those two things, there's a lot of sadness. But the way that we can help ourselves out is to be honest with ourselves about what's really going on, which is that you may have made mistakes in the relationship. You may have done things you'd like to have done differently. You may change things in a future relationship. And if you've offered to apologize and to change and they don't want it, they don't want it. So the truth is, it takes two. And unless you did something like have an affair, or something really terrible that it's directly linked to that behavior, the chances are they just don't want to do the relationship with you. It's really hard. But that is separate from your parental experience where maybe they didn't show up as you wanted. And so you have to stop combining those, because when you do, we end up having a level 8 reaction or even a level 15 reaction to a level 4 issue. And so that's not what I want for you. So separate those out. And then recognize everyone wants to feel loved. Everyone wants to feel seen, heard, connected. But not everyone will be that for you. And that's actually a beautiful thing. You're not for everybody, and that's the goodness of who you are. And so when you're in this position, what I want you to do is actually invest in becoming the person you want to be. Invest in being the healthiest version of you, because that person attracts people who like that person. And if you say to yourself, Jason, but no one's ever shown up for me, this is what I would tell you. Maybe you could be the first. Maybe you could be the first to show up for you and change your legacy. So to recap, if you're going through a breakup, resist the urge to take all the responsibility unless it's really obvious that that's what happened. Most of the time, though, it's not. So resist the urge to make it all your fault, and instead own your part. Let them own theirs and move on to find people who love and respect you and want to be in a relationship for the person you are, not for how you solve or fix things in a crisis. And recognize that if you're still in pain and you've got insecure attachment, that's probably about something else entirely, and it's worth looking at and doing some work, because when we've done some work on that, the day-to-day looks different.